And I am committed to addressing that issue during my first term as governor. In fact, I have said that I will address that issue in 2009. Leading up to that effort, though, a lot of groundwork must be done. I'm not interested in another failed attempt. And the only way to solve this problem is to develop consensus among the citizens of our state. Otherwise, we will end up with another fight that leads nowhere. I am also convinced that when it comes to education, the debate, unfortunately, focuses almost exclusively on funding. I believe it must be a broader debate than that. I think we must think as Ohioans what it is that we want education to be and to mean to our people. And that's a much more value-laden discussion than simply money or financing. I think we need to reform education rather completely. I think we need to think new thoughts. I think we need to try new approaches. My personal feeling is that we need to develop an individualized system of education that is more fluid than what we currently have, that focuses on the needs of the individual student and recognizes those individual needs rather than treating all students as if they are part of a large group that has similar needs, similar abilities. And so what I'm doing over the next few months is holding a series of 12 regional meetings throughout Ohio. I will personally be engaged in these meetings. We will go across our state and hold a discussion with the people of Ohio about what education needs to be, how we want to reform it, and certainly how we want to fund it. I deal with this problem nearly every day. I think we've made some proper investments in early child care and education already. I think we've done some very positive things when it comes to higher education by freezing tuition for 2 years, putting more scholarship aid, and having a chancellor that is working very, very closely as we attempt to develop a university system within Ohio. I think we've done some very positive things with our adult workforce training programs, moving many of those programs out of the Department of Job and Family Services over to the Department of Development and to the Board of Regents, so that Eric and Lee can use those resources to train workers for the jobs that are going to be jobs of the future. So I think we've made some good beginnings, but next year will be the year that I focus additional efforts on elementary and secondary education. And I haven't in any way pulled back from my responsibility to do that. I think as governor, my greatest responsibility is to address the needs of education. And that's what I'm trying to do. We've done some things, but we will do much more. Stay tuned, and I hope that all of you will engage in this effort, because the future of our state depends upon our success in devising and funding a system of education that meets the needs of our people.
Good afternoon, Governor. Right here.
Oh, okay.
Just over a year ago, I came to the same forum and I asked you a question about vetoing the requirement of the state for the in the budget for the abstinence-only program until marriage. I came here today to publicly thank you for keeping your word. You have an outstanding leadership, and I really admire the fact that I could come to this forum and ask the question. And as a woman that is living with HIV, I think that it's important to understand that you can ask questions of your government and they can be answered. So on behalf of the kids of Ohio and my children, I say thank you publicly for honoring your word.
Governor, thank you very much for that inspirational speech. We all appreciate it. I have a question about transportation. Given the funding issues, the competition among modes, the huge issues for maintenance and preservation of the system, what are your aspirations and expectations for the task force of, or the task force for transportation for the 21st century?
Well, many people may not know about the task force, but we have a working task force, and their charge is to come to me with recommendations regarding how Ohio can make the proper investments and the right decisions to develop a transportation system that will benefit Ohio for the 21st century. And this group is working diligently. It's a large group, a diverse group, a group with great expertise, and I don't want to judge the outcomes that will flow from that task force. I charge them to be creative and courageous, and it may be that we will end up making decisions that are controversial but are needed. And in the past, we have focused primarily on, from my point of view, on maintaining a highway system to the neglect of perhaps other modes of transportation, such as rail. So I hope that task force does what I expect it to do, and that's think outside the box, be willing to make suggestions that can and almost certainly will be controversial to me. People working on that task force, many people from the Cleveland area are devoting significant amounts of their individual time and expertise to this effort, and I look forward to getting the results. Yes. Yes.
My name is Jonathan Hollifield with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. Ohio has been successful in creating inflection points to increase its trajectory in a number of areas. Innovation economy with the third frontier, your executive order aligning workforce development and economic development, the Ohio University system, and the job stimulus package. Can we undertake a similar comprehensive assessment of small, minority, and female-owned business development, assess a system that has not been examined in at least a generation and a half to create a similar inflection point to increase the trajectory of small business development in Ohio and perhaps even become a haven, an advantaged environment for what is the backbone of our economy?
Thank you for that question. I recently, in fact, within the last month, signed an executive order that I think will result in our state's government paying greater attention to this need that you have properly identified. I think we have not done I think we have not done as much as we could do or should do in this area, and I have been working with some of our members of the Legislative Black Caucus, and we intend to see that Ohio does a much better job using the laws and the provisions that currently exist while considering new initiatives if necessary in order to be successful in accomplishing what you've suggested needs to be accomplished. Thank you.